Collecting cards is a treasured hobby that many fans hold close to their heart. Now there's a Chicago company revolutionizing how we keep our collections in order and keep track of their value. We have Brian Ludden and Heather Denniston here to tell us all about Ludex. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So the Chicago company is changing up the game. Let's talk a little bit about, what this app and this website are doing.
Great. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're giving collectors and hobbyists a chance to digitize their collections. So take all their cards that they've been collecting over the years and scan them, identify them, know what they have, know their values, and be able to organize them all on your phone.
I mean, this is a hobby, given the nature of how much, these cards cost, is that people don't have, 5 cards in their house. People may have hundreds, if not thousands of them that they should really keep track of, because you never know what the value of one of these cards might be.
That's correct. I mean, it gets to a point where if you have a portfolio that just tells you every day, hey, your card's up 10% today, or this one's down 5%. It's so much nicer, and it really adds to the hobby and the enjoyment for the collector.
Let's talk a little bit about how the app and how this business came to be, and what you're kind of hoping that fans can connect with this.
So it came about 18 months ago. My son and I were looking to get back into the hobby and bought a pack of cards, and we tried to figure out what we had. And I Googled it, went to eBay, tried to figure it out. It was super painful. So the fun meter was going down and the frustration was going up. And I asked, why not? Why don't they have this? Make it easier. So I looked into it, and I realized this is a hobby that really tech hasn't come into it. And it was something that was just calling. I'm like, I know I have to do this. There's such a need. It's going to be so great for the hobby. If we can pull this off, it's going to be an amazing, amazing addition.
Let's talk a little bit about the cards that you support. Baseball, Pokemon, hockey. Tell us a little bit about, what cards people can upload.
Yeah, so right now we are supporting baseball cards, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon, and adding cards every week. Soon we'll have football and basketball and every sport by the end of the summer.
That is amazing. Let's talk a little bit about Chicago tems. We're in Chicago right now. How do the value of cards, from players in Chicago kind of stack up against, nationwide?
I would say that there's one guy that really stands up nationwide, and I think we all know him at Michael Jordan. And then there's the Chicago teams have been, they struggled, and when you collect cards, you realize how long we've struggled for. I would say Brian Urlacher is the next card that people want. And then, of course, the Hall of Famers for baseball, Ryan Sandberg, Frank Thomas, those names. But, you can collect whatever you want. That's the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. So I love the White Sox. So I just wanted to get as many White Sox into my portfolio as possible and put together a nice little collection. You can do that. I name it White Sox. All my White Sox cards are there.
There's so many things that that I collect that are just may not have a ton of value, but they have a sentimental value, and sometimes that's a bigger price or a bigger thing that you hold in your heart versus the monetary version of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's such a big part of what we're doing. We're tapping into that nostalgia component and a little bit of treasure hunting, not knowing what the values are of certain cards, but it's tapping into that kind of the family environment of going to the park and knowing who your players are, and how you get to also know the value of the cards and see it on your phone.
Let's talk a little bit about collecting in general. Obviously, there's some collectors who know the value and they know they've got a couple of great cards in their collection, but there may be other people who might keep them in a box in the attic, or keep them at their parents' house, or have them in the basement somewhere, who may not have any idea where to start. Maybe if they're flipping through the cards before uploading everything, maybe something that they should look out for as far as, hey, these are some cards you should keep an eye on.
Well, for sure you find out the collection when you were your height of your collecting. So I collected during the 90s, 80s and 90s. So it's all about the rookie cards back then. And so you look at the year you have, find out who the rookies are that year, go pull that card out, take a look at it, and you might have a treasure. I mean, there's cards you could pull out worth $3,000, $4,000, $4,000. There's $100,000 card, a Ricky Henderson. That's, if you get a 10, so this is fun. Yeah, it's fun to do that.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun to go back and look back at all the cards that you have. Is there a holy grail of cards that you hope to get into your collection, or that you would love to see come across on your platform?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah. we're so curious about who gets on this platform, who's collecting. You can make your collection public or private. So it's going to be awesome to see some of these cards that come on there. It's just so fun.
And it's different for anybody. I mean, it might be a basketball player that is somebody's holy grail, or a baseball player, or it might be an F1 driver that they want to have in their collection. So it's so personal, depending upon where your passions are.
But Rudy, I would say a 1952 mantle.
For this guy.
If I see that, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, this is awesome.
Yes.
I'm going to befriend this person. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And then in a couple of weeks, maybe towards the end of the summer, people might be able to trade cards and to maybe add or change their collections up.
Yes, that's a great feature that we have coming.
Yeah, we this kind of goes into the nostalgia part of it, where the first people when you traded was in the schoolyard with a buddy. So we're going to have an ability to trade with different members, different times, different members, different places. So we just feel like that will facilitate a lot of fun in the hobby and enjoyment for our collectors. It brings you back to your childhood, and we all like that.
And then it's kind of going off of that, but final thing I want to chat about is, what does this tradition mean to both of you? Obviously, it's something that people do with their kids, people do on their own. People think about their childhood friends. People think about finding that rare card that they almost feel like Charlie and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory of getting that special card there. What does this mean and this tradition mean to you, and how you're able to kind of take this into the future?
Well, for me, one of the reasons I got back in the hobby was finding a way to connect with my sons that was not on a computer. It was, hey, maybe we can go to card shows together. Maybe we can learn this together. Maybe we can learn about markets and trading. And so for me, it was like, I just really thought it was a great way to teach kids value and educate them in financial stuff. So that's what for sure.
Yeah. And I would add that we're trying to lower the barriers to entry for the hobby. We want to make it easier for people to get in and get to know their players through their cards. So being able to identify and know what cards you have and their value lowers that barrier to entry. So it gets more people involved in the industry, in the hobby, and everybody wins.
And keeps everything well organized. Brian, Heather, thank you so much for your time today. Ludex.com is where you can go ahead and find more information.